quiet o'clock, the hour you stop for the day. There is nothing left that needs you tonight. Before the first story begins, take a moment to let your body settle further into wherever you are lying. There is no hurry at all, and no part of this that you have to follow. Let your head sink a little deeper into the pillow, and let your neck stop holding it. It has been holding it all day. Let your shoulders come down away from your ears, and let your arms be heavy, and let your hands stay exactly where they have fallen. If there is any tightness left anywhere, in your jaw, across your back, behind your eyes, you do not have to do anything about it. It will loosen on its own, gradually, while you listen. Your breathing will slow down by itself. You do not need to help it, or count it, or make it deeper than it wants to be. If you fall asleep before the end, that is the whole point, and you will not have missed anything. There are 3 stories tonight. Soft rain runs underneath all of them, the whole way through. So, let your eyes close now, and we will begin. You are already here, standing in the corridor of the sleeper train. The gentle sway, a familiar rhythm under your feet, your hand resting lightly on the cool, smooth brass rail that runs along the wall. The air is warm and still, carrying the faint, clean scent of aged wood and a distant whisper of steam. A comfortable, enclosed world gliding steadily through the deep hours of the night. Outside, the darkness presses softly against the windows, a vast, unbroken expanse that hints at hidden fields and sleeping towns. But here, inside, the lamplight is soft and constant, reflecting a warm, steady glow on the polished surfaces around you. The floor beneath you gives just a little with each subtle shift of the carriage, a soft, yielding motion that speaks of long journeys and countless miles already traveled. And the sound of the train itself is a low, humming presence, a deep thrum that settles into the very bones of the structure. Through it all, a quiet, rhythmic pattern emerges, the double knock of the wheels over the rail joints, a steady, even sound that rises from beneath your feet and then fades again, only to return. A quiet pulse through the floor, a sound that has become a part of the night. You turn your gaze toward the window, where the autumn night unfolds in a slow, silent blur beyond the glass. a wide and open world passing by without a sound. The sky above the distant, gently rolling hills is not quite black, holding instead a deep, bruised indigo, a shade that suggests the very deepest hours, with only the faintest wash of starlight scattered thinly across its breadth. Far away, a single warm farm light blinks steadily from what must be an farmhouse nestled deep in the countryside, a solitary beacon in the vast, encompassing dark, a tiny point of human warmth against the immense, cool quiet of the land. The glass of the window pane feels cool against your fingertips near its metal frame, a tangible boundary between the warmth inside and the cool air outside, while closer to where you might have leaned, the glass holds a faint, lingering warmth, a memory of your presence. Shapes of trees and low-lying bushes rush past, becoming fleeting shadows that merge into the larger, indistinct form of the landscape. And the wind, a soundless force, tugs at the edges of the dark, invisible fields. The air inside the carriage remains perfectly still, a soft comfort, as the train continues its unhurried passage, carrying you through the quiet, sleeping world, and the subtle vibrations of the floor underneath remind you of the constant, steady journey. The distant sound of the wheels, a soft, insistent tapping, the double knock of the wheels over the rail joints, continues its rhythmic presence, an unchanging part of this slow night, gently carrying you onward through the quiet, vast expanse. With a quiet breath, you begin to move slowly along the corridor, your steps falling softly on the carpeted floor, which yields just enough with each footfall to feel gentle and cushioning. The gentle rocking motion of the carriage becomes a part of your walk, a subtle dance that requires no effort, allowing your body to sway easily with the train's momentum. And sometimes, without thinking, your hand reaches out to touch the smooth, cool brass rail again for a moment, just for the comfortable contact. The doors of the other compartments line the corridor, each one closed and solid, silent barriers behind which other quiet worlds exist, hushed and unseen, their presence adding to the sense of a shared, slow journey through the night. A soft, amber lamplight glows steadily from a fixture set low at the far end of the carriage, casting long, soft shadows that stretch and recede with the gentle swaying, guiding your way without any need for haste. The air here holds a faint, pleasant scent of clean linen, perhaps from freshly made beds in the unseen rooms, mingling with the deep, reassuring aroma of old wood and subtle metal, a smell unique to these long-distance journeys. You pass a small, framed print on the wall, a quiet landscape in muted colors, its details blurred by the low light and your slow, unhurried pace. And then it is behind you, dissolving back into the soft focus of the corridor. There is no destination in this walk, no reason to hurry or to pause for long, just the simple act of moving through this confined, gentle space, allowing the train to carry you along. And the quiet, rhythmic sound of the wheels, the double knock of the wheels over the rail joints, continues its steady, even pulse beneath the floor, a constant, soothing companion. You feel the steady vibration more than you hear the sound itself, a gentle thrumming that travels up through your feet and settles into your body, a deep, unwavering presence that cradles you in its predictable motion. The carriage sighs gently as it rounds a long, invisible curve, a soft, almost imperceptible sound of metal and wood shifting, and you simply lean into the movement, letting it guide your balance effortlessly, as if you have always been part of this slow, winding journey through the dark. The light from the far lamp dims and brightens with each subtle turn, making the shadows lengthen and contract in a soft, quiet rhythm, a natural breathing of the space around you, as the world outside remains a vast, unblemished darkness. Eventually, your gaze settles on a door that feels familiar, a small brass number fixed neatly to its polished wooden panel, a clear and quiet invitation to step further into your own private space. You reach out, your fingers finding the cool, smooth brass of the handle, a small, solid weight in your palm, and the metal feels familiar and reassuring under your touch. With a soft, deliberate motion, you turn the handle, feeling the gentle resistance give way, and then the door slides smoothly across its track with a quiet, well-oiled whisper, revealing the small, warm haven within. The air inside your compartment is noticeably stiller and warmer than the air in the corridor, a pocket of settled calm, and the faint, lingering scent of clean bedding is now much more present, a gentle, welcoming aroma. You step inside, feeling the plushness of the carpet under your shoes, a softness that muffles your footsteps completely. And then, with another quiet motion, you slide the door back into place. The soft click as it latches shut is a gentle, final sound, sealing you safely within, and instantly the more expansive sounds of the corridor, the faint, distant hum of other movements, and the general background shift of the carriage, all recede and soften, almost entirely disappearing. Now, only the closest, most immediate sounds remain, and the steady, quiet thrum of the wheels, the double knock of the wheels over the rail joints, becomes more distinct, a sound that resonates now through the very walls of your small room, a deeply felt vibration that travels up through the floor and surrounds you with its constant, predictable rhythm. The air here is a touch warmer, a soft, gentle breath that wraps around you, a palpable difference from the slightly cooler, more expansive air of the corridor, signaling a deeper quiet, a sense of being completely enclosed and at peace. This room is small, a perfect, compact space, and it is entirely yours for this slow night, feeling like a carefully crafted nest that cradles you in its steady journey. Along one wall, a berth is already made up, a neat, inviting rectangle of crisp white sheets and a soft folded wool blanket, its surface looking smooth and undisturbed, ready for your quiet rest. The weight of the blanket, a comforting density, is visible even from where you stand, promising a gentle warmth for the deep hours ahead. Above it, a small reading lamp with a frosted glass shade casts a soft, warm pool of light onto the pillow, a gentle glow that chases away any lingering shadows and makes the room feel even more intimate and secure, a soft beacon in the quiet dark. Across from the berth, a tiny fold-down table is latched against the wall, its polished surface reflecting the lamplight in a soft sheen, ready to hold a quiet cup or a book, a small, convenient surface within easy reach, its edges smooth and cool to the touch. A single window, its glass dark with the night outside, is framed by a heavy, deep blue curtain, now pulled back to reveal the passing darkness, a silent border between your quiet world and the wider, sleeping landscape. The glass of the window, even though the curtain is open, seems to hold the outside world at a comfortable distance, blurring the swift movement of the night into a gentle, indistinct flow. Everything within this small space is carefully arranged, thoughtfully placed, so that every comfort is close at hand, requiring no reaching or searching, and the efficient, considerate layout simply invites you to settle in and unwind, to let go of any small effort. The sturdy hook on the wall awaits your coat, its presence a quiet suggestion of leaving the outside world behind, and the soft rug on the floor promises warmth underfoot, a gentle texture against bare skin, a quiet cushioning for your feet. Someone, long before you arrived, carefully made up this berth, smoothing the sheets with practiced hands, folding the blanket with neat corners, ensuring every detail was just so, and then quietly departed, leaving this space prepared and waiting for your complete comfort and ease. The air here is particularly still, a soft, contained warmth that holds a faint, clean scent of laundered fabric, and a subtle hint of the polished wood that forms the walls. A calming, quiet aroma that speaks of care and comfort, a stillness that settles deep within you. The gentle sway of the train is still present, a soft, rocking motion that feels less like movement and more like a steady cradle, easing you into a deep sense of peace, a quiet rhythm that pulses through the very structure of the carriage. The recurring, deep thrumming of the wheels, the double knock of the wheels over the rail joints, is now a softer, more muffled presence, a deep vibration felt gently through the floor and the walls, a sound that has woven itself into the fabric of this quiet night, constant and reassuring, a distant, steady heartbeat. You can feel the quiet certainty of the train's onward motion in the very structure of the room, a subtle, unwavering presence that makes the small space feel utterly secure and timeless, a cocoon gliding through the vast, dark world, carrying you gently onward. You reach for your coat, feeling the familiar weight of the fabric in your hands, and with a slow, unhurried movement, you lift it and hang it neatly on the sturdy brass hook near the door, letting its weight settle into place. The day's travels begin to slip away with the coat, leaving behind any lingering sense of outside motion. And then you bend to unlace your shoes, the soft leather yielding easily to your touch. One by one, you slip them off, feeling the welcome release of pressure on your feet, and place them carefully side by side under the berth, out of the way, a small, quiet act of preparing for rest. The soft rug underfoot feels warm against your socks, a pleasant, yielding texture, a small comfort in the quiet space, and the room feels even more yours now, settled and complete. You turn toward the window, where the dark blue curtain is still pulled back, and with a gentle motion, you reach for the cord, pulling it slowly across the glass. You find a small, sturdy cup already waiting on the fold-down table, and pour the dark, fragrant liquid into it, watching the steam curl gently upward in the lamplight, a soft, inviting cloud. The warmth of the cup transfers slowly to your hands as you hold it, a steady, gentle heat that seeps into your palms, a small, comforting weight, and you feel the quiet reassurance of the hot liquid, a sense of deep inner calm. You hold the tea for a while, letting its warmth seep into you, feeling the quiet certainty of the train's onward motion, the steady, predictable thrum of the wheels, the double knock of the wheels over the rail joints. Now a deep, soft vibration that resonates through the floor. A constant, soothing presence. Finally, you reach for the folded wool blanket on the berth, its soft texture a familiar comfort against your fingertips, and gently unfold it, spreading its quiet warmth across your legs as you settle onto the edge of the berth, allowing its weight to settle softly around you. A soft, quiet embrace. With a quiet sigh, you reach for the small reading lamp, its gentle light still illuminating the small space with a soft, steady glow. Your fingers find the smooth, cool dial at its base, turning it slowly, carefully, watching as the warm light begins to dim, softening by degrees, until it is just a whisper of its former self. The room grows gradually darker, the shadows deepening around the edges, becoming softer and more indistinct, a gentle invitation to release the day entirely, allowing everything to soften and blur. The remaining light becomes a faint, warm haze, just enough to mark the space, but no longer demanding any attention, allowing your eyes to close whenever they wish, whenever the moment feels right. The warmth of the blanket across your legs feels heavier now, a comforting weight that presses gently down, and the air in the small room is perfectly still and soft, holding its gentle warmth around you, a quiet, palpable embrace. The steady, deep vibration of the train continues, a low, constant hum that is felt more than heard, a pervasive, soothing thrum in the very fabric of the carriage. And through it all, the quiet, rhythmic pattern emerges one last time. The double knock of the wheels over the rail joints, a gentle, distant pulse that has become softer now, a barely perceptible tremor through the floor, fading almost into the quiet of the night, a whisper of sound that is now a memory. The dark is soft now, enveloping everything. A gentle sway continues, an easy motion. Quiet breath rises and falls, slow and deep. The warmth stays, a comforting presence. Everything is still here, completely settled. A soft release settles in, loosening every edge. No thought remains now, only quiet emptiness, only rest, deep and calm. The train moves onward through the vast night, always moving, always steady, a quiet presence, slow and low, a smooth, unending glide. A quiet drift begins, a soft descent, into nothing, into unburdened peace, just peace, a complete and quiet stillness. A soft ease descends, a quiet surrender, letting go, completely and utterly. Drifting down, deeper and deeper, into quiet, a profound and simple quiet, just the dark, soft and welcoming, and the warm, a gentle blanket, and the soft pressure, a gentle weight. Nothing more is needed, nothing at all. Just here, within this quiet space, a quiet, soft surrender, a final letting go, deep and still, utterly at peace. Just the gentle motion carrying you onward, and the soft, soft dark holding everything. You are already here, on the path that winds along the headland, the air a deep cold around you, bringing the distant scent of salt and damp stone. The grass by your feet is stiff with frost, each blade holding a tiny, perfect sparkle in the dim light. And the earth beneath your boots is firm and unyielding, a solid ground that carries you steadily forward. Ahead, through the vast, clear dark of the winter night, the lighthouse tower rises, a quiet, reassuring presence against the deep indigo sky, its painted white stone a faint blur in the starlight. The lamp above is turning, slowly, patiently, so that a wide band of soft light passes across everything every few seconds and goes on again, sweeping out over the dark expanse of the water and then back to the land, a steady, unhurried rhythm in the vast quiet. The sky above is open and immense, a scattering of countless stars like cold, distant dust, stretching endlessly in every direction. And the air here on the point is crisp and clean, tasting of the sea. Below you, a long way down where the land drops sharply away, the sea moves, a deep, restless breathing in the darkness, its sound a soft, continuous murmur of water on rock, a steady, rhythmic sigh that rises and falls with the distant movement of the waves. The cold air touches your cheeks, a gentle reminder of the season, but it is a fresh, invigorating cold, not sharp or biting, and you are comfortable here, moving through the quiet night. The path curves gently, always leading upwards, always bringing you a little closer to the solid presence of the tower, and the low, steady hum of the wind is a constant companion, carrying the subtle notes of the open water. The light from the lantern above sweeps over the dark, restless surface of the sea, finding nothing but the vast, empty expanse. Then it glides across the frosted path, illuminating the small, still details of stone and grass for a fleeting moment before moving on, leaving the world in shadow once more. You feel the slight incline of the path beneath your feet, a gradual ascent that requires no effort, just a simple lifting and placing of your steps. The darkness is not a deep, heavy dark, but a soft, luminous dark, filled with the faint glow of the stars and the steady sweep of the light from the tower. The world here feels wide and calm, stretching out in all directions, and you are a small, quiet part of it, moving gently through the cold, clean air. The sound of the water far below is a constant, steady anchor, a low, deep voice that speaks of timeless things, and the air carries the cool, earthy scent of the frozen ground mixed with the clean, sharp smell of the open ocean. Each slow, deliberate step brings you a little further along the point, closer to the solid, unmoving warmth of the tower, and the lamp above turns, so that a band of soft light passes across everything every few seconds and goes on again, a comforting, familiar pattern in the quiet, dark night. The path now begins to narrow slightly, becoming a more defined line in the frosty ground, and the surface shifts from grass to a rougher, more solid mix of small stones and packed earth, rising gently towards the base of the tower. You walk without hurry, your steps measured and unhurried, taking in the small, quiet details of this familiar ascent. And there is no need to rush, no destination that demands speed, just the simple, steady movement of one foot after another. You pause for a moment, letting your gaze sweep out over the vast dark of the sea, the rhythmic sound of the waves a little closer now, a soft, hushed breathing, and the cold air fills your lungs, clean and pure. As you draw nearer to the tower, the wind, which had been a constant, sweeping presence across the open point, begins to soften, dropping gently as you come in under the growing lee of the solid stone structure. The air around you feels a touch milder here, sheltered from the most direct currents, a subtle shift in temperature that wraps around you like a quiet welcome, and the tall, unmoving bulk of the lighthouse begins to loom larger, its presence more immediate and tangible. You can see the texture of its white painted walls more clearly now, thick and soft-edged from many, many coats of paint applied over the long years, each layer smoothing out the imperfections of the stone beneath, giving the surface a gentle, rounded quality. The sound of the sea, though still present, is now a more distant murmur, a comforting background hum that no longer feels quite so close, and the stillness that settles around you is deep and undisturbed. You reach out a hand, tracing the cool, smooth surface of the stone wall where the paint is thickest, feeling the faint, subtle roughness beneath the many layers, a solid, reassuring contact. The path itself becomes less of a distinct line and more of an extension of the ground, worn smooth by countless footsteps, leading you directly to the heavy, sturdy door at the base of the tower. The lamp above is turning, so that a band of soft light passes across the white wall every few seconds and goes on again, illuminating the thick, rounded paint for a brief moment before receding, leaving the surface in a soft, familiar shadow. You take your time, letting your senses absorb the quiet presence of the place, the subtle scent of old stone and fresh salt that lingers in the air close to the tower. There is a sense of deep quietude here, a peaceful stillness that invites you to slow your thoughts, to simply be present in the gentle transition from the wide, open world to the sheltered calm of the tower. Your steps are softer now, cushioned by the accumulating quiet, and the approaching warmth is a gentle promise in the deep winter night. You stand before the heavy door, a solid presence of dark, weathered wood, bound with thick iron straps, its surface worn smooth by the passage of countless hands and seasons. There is no latch or handle to manipulate, for the door is already ajar, a narrow, dark opening inviting you in. And the air beyond smells faintly of cold smoke and old stone, a warm, still scent that contrasts with the cold air outside. You step over the high sill, a threshold of worn, smooth stone that has been polished by time, and the transition feels immediate and complete, a quiet passing from one world into another. As your foot lands on the inner floor, the robust sound of the sea, which had been a constant, distant presence, goes instantly muffled and far away, receding to a barely audible whisper, a soft, deep hum that seems to come from another, more distant place entirely. The air around you changes temperature completely, shifting from the sharp, invigorating cold of the open point to a gentle, enveloping warmth, a soft embrace that settles deep into your bones. It is a dry, comfortable warmth, free from any hint of dampness, and it carries the subtle, reassuring scent of a fire that has been burning steadily for a long time. The thickness of the walls becomes immediately apparent, insulating you completely from the wind and the chill of the night, creating a pocket of stillness and quiet. You stand for a moment just inside the door, letting the warmth soak into your skin, feeling the comfortable weight of your own body settling into this new, sheltered space. And the quiet here is profound, a deep, still silence that feels like a physical presence. The faint, persistent scent of the sea still lingers on your clothes, a quiet memory of the outside world. But it is quickly fading, dissolving into the gentle, enclosed air of the tower. There is no need to close the door, for it rests gently against its frame, a soft, reassuring barrier against the night, and the only path now is upward, into the heart of the tower's warmth. You begin your slow ascent up the winding stair, the smooth, cool stone steps spiraling gently upwards, each one a solid, reassuring platform beneath your feet. The curve of the wall is constant, a continuous embrace that guides you effortlessly. And the faint, diffused light from above shows the way, preventing any need for haste or focus. Your hand might brush against the cool, smooth stone of the inner wall as you climb, a steadying contact. And the air around you grows steadily warmer with each turn of the stair, carrying the rich, deep scent of burning coal and the quiet, metallic tang of an old, well-tended stove. The steps are not steep, a gradual incline designed for ease of passage, and you climb without effort, your breath steady and calm. Above, you can begin to hear the soft, occasional murmur of a kettle, a gentle, simmering sound that speaks of warmth and readiness, and the expectation of a settled quiet grows stronger with every step. You continue upwards, the world outside receding further with each gentle turn, until you arrive at a small, round room, a cozy, enclosed space that feels immediately welcoming and complete. This is the keeper's room, a circular sanctuary built into the curve of the tower wall, its proportions perfectly suited for comfort and quiet repose. A small, sturdy stove, its cast iron black and polished, stands in one section of the curve, radiating a deep, pervasive warmth that fills the entire space, and its door is closed, showing only a low, steady glow through its vents, a quiet, pulsing heart of warmth. On the opposite side, built seamlessly into the gentle curve of the wall, is a narrow bunk, its surface covered with a thick, plain blanket, inviting a long, deep rest. Above the bunk, a simple, sturdy shelf is built into the wall, holding a few practical items, perhaps a small plain cup and a tin box, all secured by a thick leather strap stretched across its front, so that nothing could possibly shift or fall with the gentle rocking of the tower or the passing of time. A small, dark kettle rests on the flat top of the stove, emitting a soft, sleepy hum, a quiet promise of warmth and comfort to come. And the air here is perfectly still, perfectly warm, holding the rich, earthy scent of coal smoke and a faint, sweet smell of old wood. The curved wall around you is painted a soft, muted cream, absorbing the light and softening any edges, making the room feel like a gentle, protective shell. There are no sharp corners here, no abrupt lines, only the continuous, soothing curve that wraps around you, creating a sense of deep security and peace. The lamp above is turning, so that a band of soft light passes across the curved wall of the room every few seconds and goes on again, a gentle, familiar sweep that briefly brightens the space before fading, a quiet, unhurried presence in the comfortable stillness. Everything here is as it should be, settled and ready, waiting for you in the heart of the tower. You step fully into the warm, round room, feeling the quiet embrace of its stillness, and the first gentle task is to shed the outer layer of the journey. Your coat, heavy with the lingering chill of the open night, is lifted from your shoulders, its weight a familiar comfort, and you carry it to the sturdy wooden hook already fixed to the wall, close to the quiet warmth of the stove. The wool of the coat feels thick and soft in your hands, and as it settles on the hook, its fabric slowly begins to absorb the comforting heat radiating from the cast iron, releasing the faint, clean scent of salt and cold air that it has gathered from the point. Next, you turn your attention to the stove, a simple, important gesture to ensure the lasting warmth of the room. A small, heavy coal shovel rests beside it, its metal cool to the touch, and you lift it, feeling its balanced weight in your hand. From the sturdy coal scuttle beside the stove, you scoop a single, measured shovel of small, dark coals, their surface smooth and cool, and you carefully open the little door of the stove, revealing the deep, steady glow within. The coals tumble gently onto the burning embers, a soft, dry, clinking sound, and a faint, warm puff of air escapes, carrying the rich, deep smell of the fire. The door closes with a soft, quiet click, sealing the heat within, and the glow through the vents seems to deepen slightly. A quiet assurance of continuing warmth. The kettle on the stove is now humming a little more steadily, a low, contented sound that fills the small room, and you reach for it, its handle warm but not hot. You carry it to the small, sturdy sink built into another section of the curved wall, filling it gently with cool, clear water from the pump. The sound of the running water, a soft, steady rush in the quiet space. The kettle, now heavier and cooler, is placed back onto its warm circle on the stove, and you sit down on the bunk, your back resting against the smooth, curved wall, feeling its solid support. You wait for a while, letting the gentle warmth of the bunk absorb into your body, feeling the slow, steady rhythm of the room, and the soft hum of the kettle becomes a quiet companion. The small, plain cup from the shelf is taken down, its ceramic cool in your hand, and you hold it for a moment, letting the warmth from the stove slowly permeate its surface, preparing it for the hot liquid to come. The blanket, thick and soft, is already unfolded on the bunk, a simple gesture of welcome, and you pull it gently over your legs, feeling its comforting weight, a soft, reassuring presence. The fabric is smooth and dense, settling easily around you, and the lamp above turns, so that a band of soft light passes across the bunk and the curved wall every few seconds and goes on again. A gentle, familiar sweep that marks the quiet passing of time in the warmth of the room. All is calm, all is quiet, and everything is exactly as it should be. The soft, steady hum of the kettle has now reached a quiet, insistent murmur, a gentle invitation to deeper rest. You reach for the small, simple lamp that sits on the shelf above the bunk, its soft, steady glow illuminating the immediate space, and with a slow, deliberate twist of its small knob, you turn the light down, watching as the flame diminishes, softening the room into a deeper, richer shadow. The shadows lengthen and deepen, becoming a soft, comforting presence that cradles the room, and the warm glow from the stove becomes the dominant light, casting long, gentle patterns on the curved wall. You close the little door of the stove so that only the faintest glow shows through the smallest of cracks. A warm, pulsing heart of light that is now almost entirely contained. The air is still and warm, carrying the deep, reassuring scent of the embers, and the soft sound of the kettle has settled into a gentle, consistent purr, a quiet presence in the increasing stillness. The blanket pulled over, you feels soft and heavy, a comforting weight that invites your body to sink deeper into the bunk, and the lamp above turns so that a band of soft light passes across the window and goes on again, quieter now, a gentle, fading whisper in the deep, enveloping dark. Your eyes begin to feel heavy, your thoughts slowing, gently unwinding, letting go of all the small details. The deep warmth holds you now, a gentle, pervasive comfort. The bunk is soft beneath your body, a giving surface. The heavy blanket settles around you, a steady, familiar weight. The room is quiet, a soft, enclosing space that feels safe. The air is still and warm against your skin, a calming breath. A long, slow breath fills your lungs, easy and deep. Then another, quiet and calm. Letting go a little more. Your body feels its weight now, sinking gently into the soft place. Arms grow heavy, resting in their place without need to move. Legs grow heavy, a quiet stillness spreading through them. Your head is soft on the surface beneath it, a release of tension. Thoughts drift like slow smoke, unformed and light, fading. Each thought softens, losing its edges. Each thought becomes less clear, melting away, slowing down even more, away into the vast, soft quiet. deep quiet now. Only rest remains, only stillness, an unmoving core, fading into the soft dark, a gentle release. Deep within the tower, a place of peace, safe, warm, still, letting go, drifting, gone. You are already here, standing in the narrow lane, the autumn air cool and wet against your face, the sound of steady rain close around you, a gentle curtain falling from the grey sky. The old stone cobbles beneath your feet glisten, reflecting the muted light from the high, shuttered windows above. And the air carries the deep, clean scent of damp earth and old paving stones. A soft, continuous murmur fills the space between the buildings. A quiet symphony of water meeting surfaces. A sound that has become a comfortable companion in the dimming light of the evening. Ahead, the only bright spot in the gathering twilight is the front window of the old bookshop, a warm rectangle of golden light spilling out onto the wet pavement. It lies there like a welcoming sigh, a pool of soft glow against the dark, slick stones, pulling your gaze naturally towards its steady, unwavering warmth. The rain on the shop's front window is close, even, and completely harmless. A soft drumming that speaks of shelter and quiet moments, inviting you closer with each steady tap. You feel the cool dampness on your skin, but it is not sharp or biting, merely a gentle presence, a reminder of the world outside this small, bright pocket of light. The air itself feels heavy with moisture, clinging gently to your clothes, a soft, cool breath that carries the faint, earthy smell of fallen leaves from some distant garden, mixed with the clean, metallic tang of the rain itself. There is no hurry here, no expectation, just the quiet allowance of the moment, the simple act of standing and noticing the way the water gathers in small, shallow puddles that shimmer with the reflected light. The buildings around you rise quietly into the fading day, their ancient faces softened by the dusk and the continuous veil of rain, their stories held in the quiet strength of their old brick and stone. You are simply present, watching the way the light from the shop window stretches and distorts on the uneven surface of the wet lane. each ripple and shimmer a small, momentary dance. The sound of the rain is a constant, steady presence, not demanding attention, but simply filling the quiet spaces, a soft, continuous hush that settles around you like a heavy, comforting blanket. The warmth visible through the glass pane feels like an invitation, a gentle pull towards a space that is already waiting, already known, a place of quiet refuge in the gentle, deepening evening. The cool air moves softly around you, carrying with it the subtle scent of wet stone, a clean and ancient perfume that speaks of centuries of rain and quiet moments in this narrow lane. The light from the bookshop window shines steadily, a beacon that asks nothing, merely offers its gentle glow, illuminating a small, quiet circle of pavement where the raindrops dance and disappear into the dark, wet surface. The soft, unhurried rhythm of the rain continues its gentle work, softening the edges of the world, making everything feel a little closer, a little more settled. As the evening draws in, the lane stretches out gently before you, a narrow river of dark, wet stone, bordered by the low, worn curbs, where small streams of rainwater run along their accustomed paths. You can hear the soft, gurgling sound of water making its way, finding its natural course towards a distant grating, where it disappears with a quiet, continuous whisper, a sound that is both near and far, a steady hum beneath the broader rush of the falling rain. The air around you is thick with the pure, clean smell of rain on cold stone, a scent that is deep and grounding, a reminder of the quiet strength of the ancient materials that make up this old town. Above you, the tall, narrow buildings rise into the soft, grey sky, their windows mostly dark, shuttered against the damp evening, giving the lane a hushed and private feeling, as if the world has quieted itself just for this moment. Only the light from the bookshop window breaks the uniformity, a warm, golden rectangle that spreads its soft illumination across the wet pavement, touching the slick surfaces with a gentle radiance, making the individual raindrops sparkle for a fleeting instant before they merge with the larger wetness. The rain on the shop's front window continues its close, even and completely harmless rhythm, a comforting presence that speaks of warmth and shelter, a quiet promise in the cool air. Each individual droplet seems to find its way, tracing unseen paths down the glass, creating a delicate, shifting pattern that softens the edges of the world beyond. The sound of it is a gentle hush, a steady beat that never rushes, always present, always predictable, settling the air and stilling any stray thoughts that might try to surface. You feel the cool dampness on your hands, a smooth, refreshing touch that brings a sense of quiet calm, grounding you in the simple reality of the moment, the gentle passing of the evening. The worn cobbles beneath your shoes feel solid and true, each one a small, smooth island in the flowing water, their ancient surfaces polished by countless seasons of rain and passing footsteps. You can feel the subtle texture of the stone, the way it holds the moisture, the quiet strength that has endured through so many long, quiet nights. The air carries a cool, earthy breath, a mix of damp soil and the distant, unseen trees, a deep, natural perfume that fills the quiet spaces between the buildings. The distant sounds of the town are muffled by the rain, softened to an almost imperceptible hum, leaving only the immediate, gentle music of the water. This quiet stillness allows you to simply be, to let your awareness settle on the soft play of light and shadow, the steady patter of droplets, the cool, clean scent that wraps around you. There is no need to move, no need to think, just the simple, present experience of the quiet lane, the steady rain, and the soft, inviting glow from the old bookshop, a gentle beacon in the heart of the quiet, wet evening. You begin to move, a slow and unhurried drift along the narrow lane, each step taken with a gentle, deliberate ease, the wet cobbles making a soft, squishing sound beneath your shoes. Your gaze remains on the shop window, a warm, steady focus in the soft grey of the evening. And as you draw closer, the details within begin to emerge from the gentle blur. Behind the glass, stacks of books rise in quiet towers, their spines a patchwork of faded colours, softened by years of sunlight filtering through the glass, each one bearing the quiet mark of time and countless hands. Some titles are barely legible, worn smooth by light and dust, a testament to the slow passage of days and seasons, their stories held within their quiet pages. You can almost feel the dry, papery texture of them through the glass, a faint scent of old paper and settled dust reaching you even from this distance, a promise of quiet knowledge. The light within the shop has a soft amber quality, a gentle glow, that seems to absorb the dampness of the evening, pushing back against the cool air with a steady, inviting warmth. As you approach the door, you can already feel the subtle shift in the air. A breath of warmth beginning to seep out from the old wooden frame. A quiet exhalation from the space within. This warmth is a gentle invitation, a soft touch against the coolness of your skin, growing more distinct with each slow step, preparing you for the comfort that lies just beyond the threshold. The rain on the shop's front window continues its close, even and completely harmless rhythm, a gentle murmur that has now become a part of the quiet anticipation, a soft background hum to the stillness. The wooden door itself is old and solid, its surface smoothed by many years of hands opening and closing it, the paint worn in places to reveal the darker grain beneath. There is no rush to reach it, just a calm progression, a quiet allowance for the journey, for the simple act of arriving. The sounds of the lane begin to recede slightly as you near the doorway, the general hush of the rain becoming a little more focused, a little more contained, as if the building itself is drawing it inward. The air around the door frame carries a faint, comforting scent of dry wood and old paper, a quiet blend that promises respite from the cool, wet evening. You pause for a moment, simply standing at the edge of the warmth, letting the gentle shift in temperature settle around you, feeling the cool air against your back and the quiet comfort of the warmth drawing you forward. The books in the window seem to wait patiently, silent companions in the softly lit space, their presence a quiet assurance of the gentle world within. You reach the heavy wooden door, its ancient surface cool and smooth beneath your fingertips, carrying the quiet history of so many comings and goings. With a gentle push, the door swings inward with a soft, yielding sigh, revealing the warm, quiet space beyond. And above your head, a small brass bell on a spring gives one clear, soft note, a gentle chime that hangs in the air for a moment, before slowly, quietly settling back into silence. This single, unhurried sound marks the crossing, a quiet welcome into the stillness. You step over the low threshold, a single shallow step down onto old, well-worn floorboards that greet your weight with a soft, comforting creak, a familiar sound that speaks of age and stability. Immediately, the air changes around you, becoming distinctly warmer, drier, wrapping itself around you like a soft, invisible shawl, a complete departure from the cool dampness of the lane. Behind you, the rain on the shop's front window now sounds a little more distant, a softer, more muffled presence, its steady rhythm a quiet whisper rather than a close drum. gently pushed to the edges of your awareness. The quiet of the interior settles around you. A profound sense of calm that fills the space, undisturbed by the world outside. The scent of old books is suddenly stronger here, a rich, deep perfume of aged paper, leather, and settled dust, comforting and familiar, a quiet assurance of the history held within these walls. Your feet find the solid, smooth surface of the old wooden floor, each plank telling its own silent story of long, quiet days. The door eases itself closed behind you with a soft, decisive click, sealing off the cool, wet evening and embracing you fully in the gentle warmth of the bookshop. The sound of the rain is now truly quieted, a soft, distant hush that barely registers, a mere suggestion of the world beyond the thick walls and the steady, welcoming air. You are completely inside now, fully enveloped in the tranquil space, the air holding a gentle stillness that encourages a slow, quiet settling. You are standing in the main room of the bookshop, the gentle warmth from a hidden source wrapping itself around you, dispelling any lingering coolness from the outside air. Tall wooden shelves rise gracefully towards the high ceiling, filled to overflowing with books of every size and shape, their spines a quiet tapestry of colors, some vibrant, some faded to soft, muted tones. A long, dark wooden ladder on a rail runs silently along one section of shelves, its smooth, polished rungs inviting a slow ascent, though there is no need to climb it now. The air is thick with the particular, comforting smell of old books, a blend of dry paper and quiet dust, a deep, earthy scent that speaks of countless stories held within their pages, of quiet hours spent in contemplation. This rich, deep aroma fills the space, a soothing presence that settles around you, making the room feel enclosed and secure. Soft lamplight emanates from a single green-shaded lamp on a sturdy wooden desk at the back, casting a gentle, focused glow onto the worn surface, leaving the rest of the room in a comfortable, mellow dimness. Beyond the main room, through a wide open archway, you can see a smaller, cozier space, the heart of the warmth. There, a small, black cast-iron stove glows with a steady, deep red light behind its small glass door, radiating a profound, enveloping heat that spreads slowly through the air, chasing away any hint of chill. The gentle warmth emanating from the stove is a soft caress against your skin, a comforting presence that encourages a deep sigh of quiet contentment. Beside the stove, a deep, worn armchair upholstered in a soft, dark fabric sits invitingly, its cushions gently indented from many hours of quiet use. A thick, woven wool blanket in muted blues and greys is draped carelessly over its back, its texture promising a soft, heavy comfort. A quiet invitation to settle in and let the day drift away. The lamplight from the green-shaded lamp reaches into this smaller room, softening the edges of everything, creating a peaceful, quiet haven. You can hear the subtle, soft crackle of wood settling within the stove, a quiet, rhythmic sound that is almost imperceptible, yet deeply grounding. A steady pulse in the peaceful stillness of the room. The air feels still and heavy, a soft, warm embrace that holds all sounds close, allowing only the gentle hum of the building itself to reach your ears. The shelves of books, though countless, do not overwhelm, but rather stand as silent, steadfast companions, each one a quiet testament to shared histories and forgotten moments. The floorboards under your feet are smooth and cool in some places, warmer near the stove, a subtle gradient of comfort that guides your steps without conscious thought. You move slowly, without purpose, towards the armchair, each step deliberate and unhurried, the old floorboards giving a soft, familiar creak beneath your weight. The rain on the shop's front window is now just a distant memory, a soft, almost unheard whisper against the glass, completely separate from the deep, quiet warmth that surrounds you, a gentle background hum to the profound stillness inside. The soft glow of the lamp and the steady warmth from the stove fill the air with a quiet invitation to simply be, to let the world outside fade away into the comforting embrace of this tranquil space. You take off your coat, feeling the cool, damp weight of the fabric in your hands, and drape it carefully over the back of a sturdy wooden chair near the stove, allowing the slow, dry heat to begin its quiet work of warming and drying the cloth. The air around the coat already feels different, a soft, dry warmth beginning to permeate the fibers, and you can almost hear the quiet sigh of the fabric as it slowly gives up its moisture. Then you turn towards the small black stove, its deep red glow a constant, steady heart in the room, radiating its gentle, unhurried heat. You open the small, heavy door with a quiet click, feeling the rush of warm air, and carefully place one small, smooth log onto the existing embers, hearing the soft, dry hiss as the wood catches and begins its slow, quiet burn. The scent of warm wood smoke, faint and clean, rises for a moment before settling back into the general warmth of the room. A deeply comforting aroma that speaks of hearth and home. You close the stove door gently, the soft click a final punctuation to the small task, and the steady, deep red glow reappears behind the dark glass, a quiet, reassuring presence. Next, you find a small, tarnished copper kettle on a stand near a tiny brass tap, its surface cool and smooth beneath your fingers. You fill the kettle slowly from the tap, the clear, cool water making a soft, steady rush, a gentle, unhurried sound that fills the quiet space for a moment before settling back into stillness. The water feels cold and alive in the kettle, a pleasant contrast to the warmth of the room, and you place the kettle carefully on top of the stove, feeling the immediate transfer of heat to its base. There is no need to rush, no need to wait, just the simple act of placement, knowing the warmth will slowly begin its work. You settle into the worn armchair, its soft cushions welcoming your weight, molding themselves gently to your form, a quiet embrace that invites deep relaxation. The thick wool blanket, soft and heavy, is already there, waiting. You pull it across your lap, feeling its substantial weight and the soft, familiar texture against your legs. A deep, comforting warmth spreading slowly through your body. Your hand reaches out instinctively to one of the nearby shelves, selecting a book with a plain, quiet cover, its pages a soft, creamy color, and you open it gently to a random page. The paper feels dry and smooth beneath your fingertips, carrying the faintest scent of old ink and quiet storage, a comforting presence. You rest the book on your knee, not to read, but simply to hold, to feel its solid weight, its quiet promise of stories untold. The soft glow from the green lamp falls gently across the open pages, illuminating a few words that you do not consciously register, allowing your eyes to soften, to blur, as the quiet of the room settles deeply around you. The rain on the shop's front window is now just a distant, barely perceptible murmur, a faint, gentle whisper that has almost faded into the deep, quiet comfort of the book-lined room, completely harmless and far away. The quiet in the room deepens, the soft warmth a gentle embrace, and you feel the subtle pull towards a deeper stillness. You reach out slowly, without effort, to the green-shaded lamp on the desk, your fingers finding the small, cool switch. With a gentle turn, the soft amber glow begins to dim, slowly, steadily receding, pulling the light back into itself. The room drifts into a softer, deeper twilight, shadows lengthening and softening, blurring the edges of the shelves and the quiet stacks of books. The light from the stove now becomes more prominent, a quiet, steady, deep red glow behind its small glass door, casting a gentle, pulsing warmth into the air. You close the stove door a little more, adjusting it so that only a faint, steady light escapes. A contained warmth that will last through the long, quiet hours of the night. The gentle crackle of the wood inside becomes even softer, a distant, rhythmic whisper that is barely there, a quiet song for the settling dark. The soft weight of the blanket rests heavily on your lap, a comforting presence, and the air around you is still and warm, carrying the faint, sweet scent of old paper and quiet wood smoke. Your eyes drift over the softened shapes of the books, the quiet promise of their stories fading into the gentle dimness, no longer holding your attention, The rain on the shop's front window is now a whisper, a mere breath against the glass, almost completely absorbed by the thick walls and the profound, quiet comfort that holds you. The quiet in the room deepens now. A profound stillness settles. The soft glow from the stove. It is a steady warmth. The book rests gently on your lap. Its pages are still. The blanket feels heavy, a soft, comforting weight. Your breathing slows its rhythm. The air is warm and still. The quiet settles deeper. Everything feels soft now. There is nothing to do, nothing to know. Just the quiet presence, the soft, deep quiet, the heavy comfort of the blanket, the gentle, steady warmth, and the still air around you. A quiet breath, a soft settling. Quiet. Still. Soft. Deep.